Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Productions channel here at YouTube. Of course, this is an album review. I was supposed to have reviewed this on May 27th, which was the day that this album was released. But finding it on YouTube, to listen to or even download was kind of a pain in the ass. But luckily, on May 30th, this was finally released to YouTube in full, and I was able to listen to it. This is Omen's newest album titled Hammer Damage. Now, the title Hammer Damage actually comes from one of J.D. Kimball's bands. So this is, in a way, is kind of a tribute to J.D. Kimball, and especially the old classic Omen sound. This is definitely kind of continuing the sound of Warning of Danger, The Curse, even the debut album, Battle Cry, or even their last album, Eternal Black Dawn. And speaking of Eternal Black Dawn, it's actually been 13 years since that album was released, which that album was released in 2003. Shit, 13 years to, year wait to actually hear a new album from Omen. That's fucking extensive. But even within that time, there was actually some lineup changes. Kevin Gutscher had left in 2009. And was then replaced by George Call, who was with him from 2009 to 2011, to then getting replaced by Matt Story in 2011, to then leaving in 2014, to then being replaced back with Kevin Gutscher. And then, hell, even drummer Rick Murray was even gone. 2 albums in, and he's pretty much out, and he left in 2005 to being replaced by drummers such as Scott Clute and Danny White. Scott Clute was with him for about 2005 to 2007, and Danny White was with him from 2005 to 2009. And then they both get replaced, by Wampa Zayas. From 2009 to 2012. To then getting replaced by original drummer Steve Wittig, who was with Omen from the beginning, from like early days such as Battle Cry, Warning of Danger, or The Curse, or even that other album, Escape to Nowhere, and 2012. And of course, now we pretty much have 2 original members, Kenny Powell and Steve Wittig, are back on Hammer Damage. And this is a 9-track affair, and each track just screams old school 80s Omen right here. And it's definitely continuing the sound from Eternal Black Dawn, but still has some of that classic sound of, Warning of Danger and The Curse and the title, Battle Cry. I'm not the perfect reviewer. Anyways, the album kicks off with the title track, which of course is pretty much in fashion with like Warning of Danger and The Curse. Even like Escape to Nowhere. This is just a real good track. I do think this is kind of repetitive because I think the chorus Hammer Damage, I think it's just repeated a bit more, and I think it kind of was getting a little bit on my nerves, but it still is a very good track. Cry Havoc is another killer track. Eulogy for a Warrior, Knights of the Temple, Caligula. Yes, there's a song about Caligula on here. Do I need to go on what that guy was about? No. Era of Crisis, and of course you got AFU, which is a instrumental. It's a track that ends the album, and it's done in killer way with a lot of killer guitar solos from, of course, of Kenny Powell. Everything. This whole album really does remind me a lot of Warning of Danger and The Curse, but it does still have some of that sound that was on Eternal Black Dawn. And luckily, there's no hints of fucking Escape to Nowhere or even that other album from fucking 1997, which I will not utter its name. No, there's no hints of that at all, but still is a good album. Solid anyway, but sure. Production, it's definitely more close to the sound of Warning of Danger and The Curse. Steve Wittig's drumming just sounds like Steve Wittig's drumming. It's definitely close to that. To me, the weakest track on here is actually Hella's. It's a track that didn't do a whole lot for me, but it still is a very solid track. And then there's Chaco Canyon Sun Dagger, which is a fine track, but about it. Definitely not bad. Even Kevin Gooch on here is a little different sounding. He's definitely kind of really going for that J.D. Kimball sound a bit. And he does tend to pull a good sort of J.D. Kimball tribute in a way. He does pull off a bit of those type of, gruffs. But Eulogy for a Warrior is actually one of the more melodic tracks in here. He actually ends up putting up a very good performance on it. And the whole band on here is in top shape. Really, not a bad album. I guess maybe Kenny Powell might be running out of ideas, but to be quite honest, it still is a very solid album. It still is Omen, and still is definitely close to that early Omen sound. It's what you expect from it's definitely just old school American power metal. Score though. What's my score for this? I'm gonna do a bit of a different score for this. It's actually an 8.1 out of 10. Normally it would be 8.5 or 8 out of 10, but I'm deciding to kind of stretch it a bit to 8.1. So I was almost thinking about 7.8, but I think 8.1 is actually a pretty good solid rating for this album. Because it's definitely around the 8 area, because again, I enjoyed the album, but it's not pure 8.5 or fucking 9 out of 10 type of, album. It's just a very solid, just, very good Omen album. That's all. That's all to expect from it. So, if you have heard this album by Omen, what are your thoughts? If you have any thoughts, you can post your comments down below. I'm also forgetting that this album is released through Pure Steel Records, which is the same label that has like Ancelotti or Warrant. And of course, Trauma and other great bands are on the Pure Steel label. Of course, Eternal Black Dawn was released on Mausoleum, so pretty cool. So, until then, this is Heavy Thatcher saying I'm out, and I'll see you later.